maybe. Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show, the show that is not for entertainment purposes only. Today we have some things we're going to pick back upon that we were talking about the other day when our stream went down. We're going to be talking about several interesting things. We're going to get back into the Golden Dome for America that they're talking about. We're going to look through the rest of the stuff that I had ready for us to talk about the other day. But before we do that, we're actually going to take a look at actually some footage that came out. And the footage is helicopter footage, nighttime helicopter footage of a Sasquatch, Sabe, woods people running through the woods, and this helicopter pilot is filming, and well, you'll see it. It's nighttime, it's night vision, so it's not perfect, but you can clearly see a lot of interesting attributes of how they move, how their body proportion is different. And so, yeah, we're going to take a look at that here in just a minute. But first, I want to welcome my co-host back to the show, Shannon.
Hello.
And anything supernatural been going on with you, Shannon?
Oh, every day there's been quite a bit of something. As we've all mentioned, our loving friend Dan is no longer with us, but he makes things known up in the heavens that he's in a good place, and I've just gotten a lot of little things. It's hard to explain, but it's like I can feel Dan here.
Didn't you say the other day it was during literally the moments that we'd gotten notified that
had an orb show up on
we notified Dan was in his passing moments, and Shannon had another little orb show up in her little studio that she's in there, and it's not the first time that Shannon had that happen. We've seen it on the screen actually once or twice, where a little ball of light flying around in the room, and truly supernatural. If you have any knowledge or understanding, or you're willing to consider things that are outside of the realm of natural. So thanks, Shannon, for being here. We appreciate you. We love you, our sister. And we also have Miss Kim here in the background. She's here with us, helping as well. You can see her blonde hair sitting down over here, back of her head there. And of course, we have Roxy here with us again today, which we are so thankful for.
Hey now.
Roxy is our self-proclaimed truth ambassador, as you can see there on the screen. I started calling her our supernatural investigator, but she's going with truth ambassador, so we'll go with that.
Well, before you get a chance, I forgot to mention this, but supernatural kind of thing. When right around the moment, like right before I was told Dan passed, I was sitting in my van, and I don't have any sound on of any kind. Like I don't have the radio on. My phone wasn't doing anything. I don't have anything in my van that could possibly make this noise. But if any of you are familiar with the Super Mario Brothers, the original like Nintendo game, there's this little noise that is made every time like Mario or Luigi punches the yeah. It has a name, and it's called the power up sound, like leveling up, like powering up when he gets the magic mushroom thing and he grows and gets more strength. Well, I heard that loud and clear inside my van. There was no one around. My windows weren't open. There was no possible way that noise could have been made. And I just thought that was so odd. And when I looked up what Mario means and Luigi means, it literally means warrior. Like, and I just thought, wow, that was Dan, leveling up.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You mentioned this to me the other day.
Yeah.
And I just realized too, of course, it's Super Mario. Dan's been on has been, of course, the Supernatural Show. So it's very interesting, that correlation, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's something that it's like it was specifically meant for me to hear, because I know that name, or like that sound, like I recognized it, and and when that happened, it literally was like, I just leveled up. I'm a warrior of Christ. Like I'm here now. So
I have the possibly the audio that you're talking about.
I may have sent it to you.
I just pulled up a video.
That noise.
Is that it?
That was it. Yep.
Wow. Very cool, Dan. We know you're out there truly in the supernatural world now, and we miss you. We're going to be doing a show. I don't know how long the show will go, but on Wednesday, we're trying to organize where we can have Dan's. It's a long story, and I'm not going to get into it without her permission, but let's just say that his roommate, friend, sister in Christ, that was helping him out in his last year where he was staying. And the details of all that I'm not going to get into right now. I'll let her if she wants to. But anyway, she might be able to be on the show on Wednesday, and she's going to talk to us about Dan, because she knew him the best. She lived with him for about a year. So hopefully that works out, and she'll be here on Wednesday. So like I said earlier, we have, when we could go today, exactly. We have some video footage. The main subject of this video, we're going to be talking about America's Golden Dome, but this is the Supernatural Show. So when this footage came out, and it came out from a YouTube channel called How to Hunt, which I watch a lot of his videos because he's got a pretty good sized channel, and he's earned it. Where people email him and tell him about their encounters with these things that some people don't realize that are actual real beings. And they're also real supernatural beings. They have attributes that we as humans don't have. You might call them superpowers and things. Just and I've had encounters with these beings. Me and Miss Kim over here have heard them howl greater than any howl I've ever heard by anything. We heard them one night at midnight, coming home, walked up on the front porch, and it went off, and it was just insane sounding. We already had things going on that they're known for doing, like smacking the side of your house at nighttime. You run outside and there's no one there, and then it gets smacked again, and you run out there. We had all that kind of stuff going on, and I had one. I'm assuming it was one of them, but I couldn't see it. Had one smack right beside the house where I was sitting outside at nighttime one time, just literally right beside me, like a 2 foot pow, smacked the house. And I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, you got my attention. What do you want? What are you trying to tell me? And then sometime later we heard it howl. So when I talk about these things, I know some people that have no experience or encounters with them may assume that it's just crazy talk. But unfortunately, at least in my world, in my mind, they're not crazy talk. Just like angels, they're real. And in my world and in my mind, they are real because I've seen them many, many times, had encounters with them, seen them show me things that they can do. Even Miss Kim here has seen them as well. So that it's a good thing, because otherwise she'd probably think I was nuts. Like some of you probably do. But anyways, you're here for the Supernatural Show. So let's take a look at this helicopter nighttime footage with some kind of I don't know what kind of camera, infrared or nighttime camera, where the helicopter pilot is flying above and is filming this thing running through the woods up in the mountains somewhere. I believe it was in Canada. If you want some more story on it, backstory, I would go over to the How to Hunt channel, which I have shown in here, and listen to Steve on one of his most recent, in the last day he released this. And so yeah, let's watch. Well, I'll just let you be the judge, but what I would suggest is when you're watching and looking at this, look at the length of the arms. Look at the body proportions overall. Look at the length of the legs. The arms are way longer than the legs are. Look at the way that it walks, and look at its stride, how it walks. When it walks in a straight line, it walks in a dead straight line, and its stride is very long. You can tell that it's completely covered in hair. You can see it look up at the helicopter a couple of times. And yeah, here's what it is. Let's take a look. So yeah,
Good.
there's some footage for you. There's been a number of photos that have come out in the last year as well. One where there was one standing on a railroad track, turned away from the camera, walking. That a deputy sheriff or whatever they call them up there in Canada took when it pulled up at a railroad track, and it was walking along. And there's been DNA studies done on their hair that's been collected, and the DNA came back as female. The mother. It was said that the mother was female human, but the father was unknown DNA. No DNA on record, according to the DNA places, because there's been numerous ones done, says that it's unknown father. So in other words, something supernatural, and it's interesting. I remember, what was the guy's name, Shannon, that did the DNA study of the blood that was found in the
Ron Wyatt.
And that blood they analyzed it, and for one, it was still alive when they hydrated it, but it was also said mother human, father unknown. Just same thing again. I'm not saying that it's directly connected in any way other than it's similar in that the father, it's saying it's not a human man,
If any of you guys ever get a chance to really look in, to dig into Ron Wyatt's discoveries and stories that has happened to him, it's just absolutely incredible. And he just, God has showed him so many things that prove his existence. And he just was a very humble, awesome guy, and he did a lot of work for the Lord. And you guys should check out his whole story.
Truly, if you haven't seen his work, you literally should.
Exactly.
Yeah, you literally should go look it up, Ron Wyatt, and take a look at that work. Now I know y'all guys only seen that footage once. I am going to upload that footage to the channel so that you can look at it again. I'm going to try to do some editing and see if I can't improve our ability to see what's going on, because I find that the gate and the width, how far the step is in front of the previous step, is enormous. When you see that side profile of it walking, it's doing almost splits like this in its walk, in its gait, and how long the arms are and the way they swing and everything. I mean, there's no way I can stand here and say that absolutely that footage is authentic, because I didn't film it. I wasn't there. But I think it probably is. But I do wonder, and I imagine anyone would wonder this, is like, okay, well, they've got supernatural abilities. Can't they just portal disappear? I don't know. I don't know what the circumstances have to be in order for them to do this or that, or are there different breeds of these types of people or beings? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But we will play it one more time, though, just so y'all guys, if you're very curious, you get another chance to see it. So I'll play it one more time here. And then we're going to hear a short word from our sponsor, us. You'll see what I mean in a second. Somebody said the video froze or something, but everything looks like it's still working properly on my side. Y'all guys, yeah, seems like we're okay. Like I say, I will be uploading it as a standalone video here after the show today. Well, worst case it'd be tomorrow. I want to do some more. I want to do some of my own editing to see what I can do and maybe slow it down in some spots where we can really look at the gate because it's walking really fast and some things like that. Video froze, but the music's still going. So that ain't good. We'll try to play it again before the show's over with. How about that? Real quick, we're just going to do a little small commercial spot. It's just us trying to do something to not starve to death. Here you go. Don't be a donkey. And that should be available, should be on the YouTube shop as well, but you can also go to the website directly and go into the Supernatural shop, and it's in there along with another bunch of stuff. So, way that you can get something and support the show if you would like to. Another way is becoming a member if you are so willing to do so. You can look at the membership roles and stuff on the website and also on YouTube. With that being said, so let's jump into, let me share my screen here, I think. Yeah. Let's jump back into this golden dome thing. And obviously, they're not going to build a golden dome above the United States, but and I'm not sure that I have the answer to really what exactly is going on here. And that's why I'm bringing it to y'all guys. Part of it is to say, what do y'all guys think is going on here? You know, what are they up to? What is the symbolism about? Why do we all of a sudden now need something called a golden dome that seems to be, if you look at the articles and such about it, it seems to be like they're talking about, defense. Kind of like the U.S. military Department of Defense, even though it's called defense, but yeah, we do a whole lot of offense, going attacking and blowing up other countries and places and putting money into things. It's a lot more offensive, obviously, but anyways, it's another story for another day.
A little bit of this on the defense side of it. We live in such a technology-rich world today.
Speak up, Roxy. You're not coming through very clear or loud.
We live in such a technologically advanced world that in warfare, if they shut our electronics off, this would probably be an automatic defense system that would supersede that failure. I don't know that, but that's my train of thought.
Maybe. And if you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, of course we want to be protected from our enemies. But the problem that I see is that they've told us who our enemies are. And I don't trust the ones that are telling us who our enemies are. And if you go back and look at what we did to the people of Iraq, who never even blew up 2 buildings or 3 buildings in New York City. They never had it they never did that yet. We went over there and Department of Defense them, you know. And I think there were many reasons why they went over there, but I think they were after something that they had. And it, you know, the oil's good, of course, and this and that's good, but there was something there, I think, in one of the museums or in one of the tombs, maybe even. Maybe they were looking for DNA. Maybe they were looking for some relics. I know Roxy has been digging and trying to understand some of these ideas of what are they trying to hunt down and why. What was, like, for instance, like Hitler, what was he after? What were the things that he was hunting for?
Well, the first thing he did when he found a territory that he wanted to invade and take over, one of the first goals of his soldiers was any Freemason temple site, gathering place, in any church, any artifact, book, or relics were packed up and cataloged. He had a huge team of people just cataloging the relics that he was confiscating from all of these religious and historical sites. He was more interested in that than he was world domination and science. I mean, don't get me wrong, his thrill for world domination, but that was just so he could confiscate information and relics because he was hunting for something greater. So who's to say that all these other foreign wars aren't related to that? Men who think they have it all and they know where something special's at and they think they should possess it.
Right. Yeah. And there seems to be a theme of that throughout all of history, you
Well,
know.
too, if you think about it like this, Hitler, like the Nazis, they were Saturn worshippers, Black Saturn worshippers. And that's all this stuff talking about the golden age, all of these things, that's all part of Saturn worship. And, you know, the enemy, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. He can't create anything new, but he likes to try to recreate what God has made. And to me, this seems like some kind of false firmament, you know, and calling it the Golden Dome gives that connotation to the whole, you know, Black Saturn worship stuff, and in the same lines as the Nazis and all kinds of other regimes throughout history. It's an obsession with this golden age nonsense of, you know, basically the Antichrist coming.
Well,
And
I break it all back down to psychology of man. Now, I don't mean man or woman, I mean human.
right.
And it goes back across so many different topics we got going on today, whether it be about rich people, the elite eating mermaids. I mean, we got Diddy. When and one of my great references to that is the musician Prince. Prince explained that he had all the money in the world to buy anything he wanted. He had a different chef for every meal to cook any meal he wanted. But rather than get involved in the constant seeking of something new, his seeking was knowledge. He learned how to play different instruments and write different music. But that's the psychology of one man. When you take another man or woman who is wealthy beyond all means and can have anything they want at their fingertips, they start searching for bigger, more powerful things that money can't buy. Because when you've got all the money in the world at your disposal, money is almost useless. So you're seeking things that money can't buy, which is power and knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what Hitler was hunting. Hitler was hunting power and knowledge.
And he was also trying to discover the genetic links to the Nephilim, which is, you know,
Right. Well, you know he had his own Jurassic Park, right?
I had heard about that, but I didn't hear it very
Over in
much.
Poland, there was a whole forest of people that he went in, and basically these people kind of lived in a forested area, and he went in and took that land, and these people who wouldn't leave willingly, he hauled them all off on trains into concentration camps where they were killed if they fought back. But this was an area that he fenced in And this was where he was going to build his Jurassic Park of Nephilim. That was part of what one of his science crews was doing, was trying to combine the genetic material of human and animals and different animals to see what he could make. Because in all reality, the one thing that Hitler was searching for was telepathic powers. Pre-war, Hitler actually talked the people of Germany into taking a vaccine if you weren't deemed worthy of reproduction. If you had any type of mental disability, if you had an alcohol or drug problem, if you weren't considered a good part of society, they would vaccinate you to stop you from reproducing. And he
Right.
talked his people into taking that willingly.
And
Sound familiar?
yeah, and again, he got a lot of these ideas from, people in America, because here in America we started the eugenics program. He was modeling after that, and we had a very similar program back then, where people who weren't deemed, fit in one way or another were forced to be, jabbed and sterilized.
Yep.
So
Y'all guys talking about history, or are you talking about now?
Both. They are the same.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nope.
These
We're just
cycles
having
keep going and going as
everything that short little man did with that mustache has been recreated from then to now in the past 100 years, except it's just been done under 3-letter agencies instead of one little man with a short man complex.
right.
And now we're going to talk about the cycles. Now they're saying we're going to go through a super cycle. Right.
Let's
Now-
definitely see what a super cycle is.
Yeah, what is a cycle?
A cycle is just like anything else. A cycle starts and ends and restarts. So even if you start a cycle at the bottom, economically, you know, uh, whatever you want to call it as a nation, we're at the bottom of the cycle. We're having trouble affording food and rent. You're at the bottom of a cycle. In order for a cycle to happen, it has to go around and come back to where it's at. So even if you peak and the economy gets fantastic, it will fail again. It's a cycle. It always happens.
It seems to always happens throughout history over and over. Like the real estate bubble, or it's just ultimately the economy bubble. And I don't know that in our case, it's not exactly natural, the cycles that we're going through economically, because they control the whole system, but when you look at empires throughout history, there's always that rise, and then crash. And okay, so we know that there's Bible prophecy about Mystery Babylon and the crash and one day and all these kind of things. Is how does this super cycle that we're now in tie into that exactly? I've got a video here that's on YouTube. It's called Golden Dome for America, a Shield for the Nation. And for me, I haven't even watched it yet, I don't think. But for me, when I watch these kind of things, you have to realize that it's highly likely what they're showing you or saying is not what they mean. And you have to look between the lines. You have to look at the symbolism. Even like in this image right here, you have a hexagonal honeycomb type shape, which is a shape that is as built into this world as you can possibly get. It's also related to the cube, because if you take if you take a piece of honeycomb and you shine a light through the back of it, and so you can see through it, you realize that all the honeycombs, it's just a bunch of cubes, literally. And it just happens to be also that they built cubes that they literally worship and walk around in circles. Is that all you think? Go back to Saturn, like you were saying, Shannon?
Yeah, Saturn worship. Like, I kind of lost my train of thought, but sorry
Well,
about that.
Saturn is just interesting because I don't know. Let's take a look at this video and hopefully y'all guys can hear it okay because it's not downloaded and not playing directly in the studio. If it sounds too bad, Shannon or Roxy, let me know. Let me see what the volume on it set at. Wide open. Okay.
Watchtower, this is Looking. Image detection. Confirmed. We have missile warning. Confirmed threat and report confidence. Continuous tracking. Threat confidence is high. Engagement authorized. Confirm target and initiate interceptor launch. Confirmed. Stable missile interceptor away. Green interceptor on track and link established. Interceptor onboard targeting active. Multiple objects detected. Target assignment initiated. Verified. All target objects assigned. Intercept in 3, 2, 1. Watchtower, this is Looking Glass. System has confirmed intercept. All target objects eliminated. Moving to status screen.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
So is it just fear propaganda? You know, like the whole nuclear weapon things has been since we were born. Get under your desk at 5 years old, and somehow you're going to survive.
They've been trying to terrorize us as a people from the beginning, I do believe.
So obviously that's a big part of it. There was I want to rewatch part of it here because I've seen something that, well, a number of things that I probably could talk about, but I mean, just the scenes that they choose to put in here, like even this scene right here. They say, "Oh, it's just a jungle gym at a park." There's a reason what this shape has to do with right here, and the swings are probably. You can say, "Oh, they just used this footage. It's just B-roll footage, just to have something in there." I doubt it. But let's watch this part again.
And initiate interceptor launch. Confirmed. Stable missile interceptor away. Green interceptor on track and link established. Interceptor onboard targeting active. Multiple objects detected. Target assignment initiated. Verified. All target objects assigned. Intercept in 3, 2, 1.
That was it right.
Those are all hexagons, correct?
Where?
The shaping that, you know, it's showing as the dome is being built up. You're seeing all these hexagons being put together as
6. It's 6. One, two,
right. The hexagon is extremely connected to Saturn worship, and it's also like a 4D version of the cube. Well, 3D. You know what I'm saying? It represents.
Mm-hmm.
So I just found that to be interesting because, again, it's right on the same lines of the Saturn nonsense.
And y'all guys have seen how, like on Mr. MBB 333's channel, people have been sending him in all these videos of the lights tripping out everywhere, not just in the United States, but worldwide. And he's got literally hundreds and hundreds of videos that people are filming even up to this day, that since about the middle of December until now, that the lights are all flickering. And sometimes it's a single light. Sometimes it's an entire parking lot. There's been times the entire city was flashing and pulsing and different things. And I just happened to notice it might not be connected, but look at this footage here again. See the flashing going on there? And that's intentionally in the video. Wow. And I assume nobody has the answer no more than I do, but that caught my eye along with a bunch of other things in here.
Well, I was watching the clock during the progression of this whole countdown. If
Mhm.
you'll notice the clock in between, like when they say, target, and then targets acquired, if you'll watch the clock, all of a sudden it's letting you know that all this is going on while the city's quiet and you sleep peacefully in your bed. We'll take care of it. No worries.
Mm-hmm. Normally, at least in my case, because might be a little slow or something other, but normally it takes a while for something to really sink in for me to understand what it is that they're up to. I mean, there's just so much going on right now, and they're moving at such an incredible pace of doing all these different things that I know y'all guys get it. Everybody who's listening, it's hard to keep up with it. It's hard to wrap your mind. It's like there's so much confusion and chaos. What should we be looking at? And I know it's easy enough to say we should be just focusing on the Father, which is absolutely true. But we're here in this experience, and if you're someone like me, it's my job as a watcher to try to make sense out of these things. But I remember back, it was probably been 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, they started pulling off a lot of these events where it would create chaos temporarily in the media and people, and I'd be investigating, looking into it, trying to prove whether it was real or fake or so on. Conspiracy theorists kind of work. And I remember the pace was running like once every 6 months. And then I remember seeing the pace coming down to where it was getting to once a month of something crazy going on in some direction or another. Hey, there's Facts.
Is here, yeah.
Facts is here. I'm saying we could let Facts. I think we could let Facts up. Hey, Facts. I didn't expect you to realize you could pop in with that link.
No, I had to send it to him. He couldn't. He was over in the comments. He's like, my link won't work. My link won't work.
Okay. Well, let's bring Facts up. Facts has been on the show a number of times here. So, is he? Yeah.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, Roxy. Thanks for letting me join. Sorry about missing the last couple of shows. Just a few technical problems, but I'm going to leave the earbuds alone today and just go off my phone because, don't want any more technical hiccups. But yeah, great stuff. How is everyone?
We're good. Glad you're back with us.
Yeah, glad to have you here. I was surprised to see you pop up down there, but yeah, you're always welcome to join and sit in with us if you're getting something out of it.
Appreciate that.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fax is in the UK over there somewhere, right?
Yes.
That's correct, yeah.
What time is it where you're at right now?
It's 17:01. Just gone 7 o'clock in the evening.
7 o'clock. Okay. So there's only a 4-hour difference.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's 4
yeah,
hours.
it's not too bad.
No, that's not bad at all. I thought it would be more, actually, but wow, because Shannon's a 3-hour difference.
From you guys.
Yeah, but Shannon's 3 hours behind us. He's 4
Right.
hours ahead of us. So there's a 7-hour interchange between Shannon and Fact.
Right.
That's too much math,
Yeah,
guys.
it's about noon over here.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're the
You
late
and
guys.
Facts. And there is a slight delay for Facts because of how far away he is, I guess. But anyways, just so y'all guys know, there's about a 1.5 second delay, I think, going on. But you sound great, Facts, and we're glad to have you here.
Yeah,
You got any thoughts on that?
yeah, no, if it continues. Literally, I've just joined. I've got the notification this time, and I've been watching for about 2 or 3 minutes, and you was just playing a video.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fact's a little behind us.
Yeah, we're
Shall I
behind, but
shall I jump in and jump out again?
no, you stay here. You're
See-
fine. No, you're fine.
The lag's okay.
We were playing the video. I think it's probably he's talking about the one we were just watching right here, which is the
That's the one.
Golden Dome for America, a shield for the nation, Golden Dome for America. And we're just, I guess you'd say it's something new that they just recently announced, and we're just kind of looking at their propaganda to see if we can make any sense out of what we're looking at, because
Sure, yeah.
not with them, nothing is ever as simple as what they show. You've got to be really paying attention. They've got this so-called Iron Dome in Israel.
I've heard something about it,
Yeah.
but not too much.
I wonder, I just had a mini download all of a sudden there. Something I've said before that I suspect that we're going to see war in the heavens. And we've seen some videos that look like that I have here I could play that looks like angelic intervention with different things. Like I've got a video of one with a drone touches an angel and it falls out of the sky. And then another one where they're shooting at an angel, and I'm wondering if this Golden Dome could have anything to do with this war in the heavens concept. See, I've seen it many times, as I said. I've seen angels show themselves to me and some of the attributes in excess of 100 times, of course. And I've got to see how they behave, what they look like, how the energy flows around them. And I know that the enemy is a copier, a counterfeiter. And I think, and I pray that I'm making some sense and that I'm actually right. I don't pray that I'm right. I pray that the information is correct. That it makes sense that they would counterfeit things that look like angels in the heavens. For an example, whoops, I think we lost Facts. For an example, we've all seen since December, all of a sudden now people were paying attention to the orbs in the sky, which in some cases are angels. In other cases, I think that they are actually not angels, and that they're counterfeiting. Like, for instance, Starlink, I mistaked Starlink for angels a few months ago, I started seeing these. Let me make this a little bit bigger here for a minute. I started seeing these lights. It was right around the dead of winter, and I started seeing these lights in the far horizon, right down on top of the trees, coming at me. A steady light, and it would come at me and come across right above me, and right when it would get almost straight up above me, they would disappear. And I was like, am I seeing angels? And I had to think about it for a little while and realize that the attributes that I've been taught as to what they look like and what they do don't match what I'm seeing. Yeah, it looks like a ball of light coming across the sky, kind of angelic light, but I've never seen them keep an exact pattern like that. Coming from there, up and across, disappear. Coming from there, up and across, disappear. And disappearing at the same spot in the sky. And so I come to figure out later that, okay, this is what I'm looking at is Starlink satellites. And because of the fact that it's just after dark, about an hour after dark, the sun has already recessed away from us, but the sky above us is still able to produce a reflection. You know, the sun shining off the solar panels that are on the Starlink satellites. And then we're seeing that reflection, and the reason why it's coming to the exact same spot and disappearing is because of the angle of refraction, okay, off of the Starlink satellite. And I say all that to say this: I think that there's going to come a point here in the very near future where we're going to see these battles taking place in the skies. And what they're going to be doing is, well, one, putting on a show. We've all heard the story about the false alien invasion, right? What if these guys, what if there's an angelic push where more angels are interceding in events, and they're real angels, and these guys try to make war with them? Would they try to do something like that? I think they might. What do you think, Shannon?
I have a question. I know I brought this up like months ago, but there was this show that came out called The Three Body Problem. And in that show, these advanced aliens, or whatever you wanted to call them in the show, had created a dome, in a sense, that was invisible to the people around the earth, to do all of these fantastical things with the stars and movement and all these, wonders. So it was like basically showing, the people on earth this show that's in the heavens that's not really actually happening, because they had covered it with this dome that was invisible to you, but was showing these different things to everyone on earth, freaking them out. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm terrible at explaining these things.
No, you're doing good.
In that show, I mean, that was one of the biggest things, is like people were seeing these stars like falling or moving or doing these patterns and strange things in the skies. And when the beings made contact and all this stuff, they basically were like, yeah, we have been fooling you. You are surrounded by this dome that we created. So it just kind of reminded me of that with what you were saying.
Yeah, that's an interesting tie-in. One of the things that got me thinking about, I've been thinking about this war in the heavens thing, because I've seen enough footage and seen actual angels to believe that they do intervene sometimes, and they I don't know if any of y'all guys have ever heard about the what's the Joplin butterfly people. Well, what happened was it was back in 20. I can't remember the year. It's been quite a while ago, 2011 or something like that. This massive F5 tornado hit Joplin, destroyed it, and there were all these stories from children saying that these beings with wings that were, they likened them to like a butterfly with really wispy wings, and they were beautiful and had lots of colors, and they came in during this tornado and protected the children. And it was like dozens of people. Mostly it was like children or like a mother trying to protect their child. They would come in and cover them or either remove them out and do things like this. And they called them butterfly people because of their wings. And pastors were talking about it and wondering if these were angels or this kind of thing. So there is actually historical documented happenings like this kind of thing. Also, when I remember seeing, and it's in my documentary that I did called UFOs, Orbs, and Lights in the Night Sky, that I did about a decade ago now, that I need to update, where I showed all this footage of what had been caught on tape of orbs doing. One was when the tsunami in Japan hit, there was helicopter footage of the tsunami and the wave coming in and flooding everything and killing people dying everywhere. And you could see these orbs of light going in and out of the water. And I zoomed in on it, and you can see it in the footage. It's in the documentary where, I mean, I don't know exactly what they were doing. Were they meeting? Were they saving people? Were they meeting their souls? I don't know, exactly for sure. But there was definitely footage of them at a very bad crisis time doing something supernatural, you might say. So I wonder if we're not going to see a really resurgence of angels doing things and intervening in things. And we're looking at right here. This is from the Debt Clock website, right? It's from this website. It's got a little button on here called Secret Window, and if you open it up, you get this, but it's kind of small. So I just took a picture of it, and that way we could look at it and pull it up here. And if you notice, this is all the golden thing again, okay? And there's your golden dome over here to the right, back there in the distance, looking like the Wizard of Oz. And you've got some harvesting of the wheat going on. And you've got the eclipses here. You've got the sign of the woman clothed in the sun, the moon under her feet. That happened in, 2017. You've got the Alpha, the Omega. You've got up here at the top, they of course put this image of an angel in a ball of light on this piece of, well, if you want to call it artwork very loosely, but you've got the depiction of an angel in the sky. Now, why would you do that? I mean, maybe they're just trolling. I don't know. You've got the Aurora Borealis down here. See what looks like an aurora here. Okay. You've got all the symbolism about the Aleph and the Tav that took place based on the path of the eclipses that happened over the last 8 years or so. I mean, there's no way that I know this for sure, but I have this feeling that we're going to see where they're going to try to use their energy weapons that they've created specifically for this and literally attack angels in the heavens. I don't know how that could possibly work exactly, other than I have seen and I've got videos of like for instance, the drone touching the angel orb, and it just drops out of the sky. I can show that real quick. Why not? Let's see, where's it at? Yeah, here it is. So there you kind of see it. The angel orb was kind of a little bit of a reddish color, kind of like things in nature. When they're red, it's like, leave me alone. I don't know. It's I just keep getting this repeated, and I've said this before. You probably remember me saying it, Shannon, that I think we're going to see an actual war in heaven where the ones that control. I mean, we know that the dark side is controlled by the fallen. So would they try to make war with the angels, with God's true angels in heaven that haven't fallen? I think they would if they could. What were you going to say, Shannon?
It reminds me of the scripture. And again, I'm not, I don't know the exact scripture. I believe it's in Revelations, where it talks about how the skies would be rolling down like a scroll and the stars would be falling and things along those lines. And we're probably talking about that, like the angels and all that stuff falling and creating war in the heavens. It could be very much like that. But, to think of the skies rolling down like a scroll is, how could that play out? And would there be a false version at some point? These are all interesting questions. But it does remind me of that scripture where you see this incredible stuff in the heavens and that things are about to go down. Could they try to fool us with that, with this dome? Or
Werner von Braun was one of the scientists that was brought back from World War II and is credited with starting NASA, who we know in Hebrew when you convert it over means to proceed. Actually, one of his final things he said to his personal assistant was that World War III will be fought in the skies with a fake alien invasion.
Fake. And he said it's fake. He made sure to say that.
But these aliens, will they be something that they put together to make it look like aliens or whatever? Or will the actual war be attacking angels as the ultimate goal?
I remember the last time we watched that video, Daniel, and as you said, the colour that I was looking, it was the same video, but another, like you put it anyway. It looked like the angel that it was moving, that its wings, like something was moving so fast, and it just had enough of this white light drone thing, and it mesmerized it into it and done what it done, and the drone just fell down. But I also got to thinking about star faults and the way they're in cymatic patterns, and they've got water going around them, and cathedrals, like they've got energy. I believe they've got energy sources that maybe they get activated when things like this go on. Because I don't believe the Almighty Creator would leave his angels without the necessary equipment to handle like the dark side. I just, you know, and it's that you can look at these star faults. They're all over Earth. Some of them look more active than others. Some of them have been built over. But they like, and that's what they remind me of, an angel. Like I was listening to someone else, and he said, a long time ago, you could hear the stars actually singing, like where things were different. Yeah, so I don't know. It just come to me. I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, I've seen some of the star forts and the way they build them, and it was exact, purposeful. They knew why they were doing them like that, and of course, they've hidden all that kind of what some people call tortilla and so on.
Well, and this is what I beg people to do. Go do your own research. Go look at it. Go
Mhm.
look at these buildings that have marble and granite columns that are 20, 30, 40 feet high, cut out of one solid piece of granite with this ornate artwork on the top of each one of these columns. All of them match identically, precisionally done. If you look at them and measure them with lasers, they are all uniform. We don't have the technology to do that today. So where did they come from? But go and look at the sign on the side of a lot of those buildings and monuments. It does not say built in 1862 or 1902. It says founded. Founded means we found the building and we repurposed it into whatever it is, the state capitol, the such and such monument. But be very specific when you look at these plaques. You will always see a Freemason symbol and it says founded. It doesn't say built. It was already here and they found it and repurposed it.
Yeah, there's a lot of buildings and places like that out there. Absolutely. Um, Talking about angel intervention and stuff, since we are on the subject of wondering about the Golden Dome thing, if it's tied into this coming fake alien invasion, because they see all these orbs, and every time they act like they're aliens. They're not. Okay, they're just not. They're not aliens. They're alien to this world in a way, you might say, but they're not aliens. I do not believe, even for a remote second, that there's such a thing called an alien from another planet. This is all fantasy that was built in to the entertainment system called the television. All the way back to the third movie ever made was made about that. Aliens on the Moon. It was the third, it was black and white. There was no sound. It was pictures only. The third movie ever made, and they chose to put aliens on the moon. And then if you look how many alien movies they've made in the last, 100 years or whatever, right? Over 100 years now. There's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Comic books, video games, everything. If you want to see what they're pushing for you to believe, just look at what they're pushing and say, like with the alien thing, there's a reason why they want us to all believe in the aliens might exist. And I think it's tied to this dome stuff and war in the heavens, and like what you were saying about the Bible and how it talks about, warns us these things are going to happen.
Let's not forget too that even like the History Channel has Ancient Aliens, the show. I mean, which we all used to call like the Hitler Channel back in the day, because they always just played stuff over and over and over about World War II and Hitler. But they upped their game now to Ancient Aliens.
Mm.
So,
Well, the
you
thing
know,
was, Hitler was chasing ancient aliens. I mean,
right?
they just went a step backwards because that is a good portion of what Hitler was hunting. He ran up on a woman named Maria Orsic who said that she had got some divine message in her sleep. She actually, now this is pre-World War II. She meets one of the original, um, oh gosh, what is his name? I can't think of his name at the moment. She meets with a couple of people who have some knowledge because she said in her sleep she had been given this message about a craft and how to build it, and that it had been given to her in two forms, neither of which she could read or write. So she meets a couple of guys in the forest who were people of occult, notoriety. One of them was in ancient Sumerian, and one was in an ancient Tibetan language, and it was the schematics for a non-gravitational flying craft. She said had been given to her by an underground race of aliens called the Aryans. And so that is what Hitler
Aliens.
seeks out in search of, is telepathy, to talk to these Aryans with their advanced technology.
And even Aleister Crowley had talked to, what was it, Lamb? I mean,
Yep.
in the depiction of it, it looks like an alien gray, you know.
Yeah, they
So,
said they were subterranean people, that these Aryans that had gone underground to basically survive back when the world was flooded with Noah and the reset and everything, and that they had never come out, but they communicated telepathically. They didn't speak with words. And you'll notice in a lot of the scientists that he had in these concentration camps, the tests they were running was on trying to see if people had those kind of powers. What was their genetic difference? What was their genetic makeup? And
right.
I think down in the South in America, we were kind of taught that Hitler was upset if you weren't blonde hair and blue eyed. Well, it was more to it than that. I mean, he was hunting aliens.
And I want to point something out to go along with what we're saying here, because you think about flying crafts and all these things, what the Nazis are said to have figured out how to do, and all this, and of course you got Area 51. I think it's what's called, right, Area 51. And of course they say that the alien craft went down there and they reverse engineered everything. It's not how it works. I want to show you how it works. Okay. All they do is study nature. You see this school bus here that's sitting up on top of the school almost?
Mhm.
Okay. Study nature and you'll learn the secrets to everything. And so the reason why I'm showing this is because a tornado just did this like yesterday, I think it was. Tornadoes, the spin, the centrifugal spin of a tornado, it produces its own realm of gravity or anti-gravity. Okay. It The laws of what we call gravity, which I don't like that word, but the laws of what we call gravity, which actually probably is density, but the laws that control that, when a tornado is present, especially if it's the stronger it is, the stronger it's going to have the ability to alter the gravitational field of where it exists. That all that energy, electricity, think about all the electricity and energy in a very large, powerful thunderstorm supercell, and it's spinning. And yeah, it has a lot of wind, but it has the ability to allow things to not be held down by gravity or density. It creates its own gravitational field. Hopefully, I explained that well enough. And if you study what is allowing this to happen, this supernatural happening, if you study it, you can then create a technology that takes advantage of that and can go fly around in the skies and be as silent as an owl flying at night, and yet be able to maneuver and do incredible things. They've got these kind of technologies already. And me and Miss Kim, believe it or not, we actually seen one they call a TR3B, which is a triangle-shaped craft about the size of a football field. We seen one some years back, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years ago. At nighttime, we were driving and spotted it, pulled over, and there it was. And completely silent, and was truly amazing to witness and prove to myself that my theories were correct. Well, there's something the size of a football field just sitting in the sky.
I'm telling you, that thing's bigger than a football field.
Well, it may be. It was big. It was big. The one I seen was big. And I know you had you've seen something that may have been the same thing not too long ago as well.
That thing, when it came over, you know what our place looks like down there.
Mm-hmm.
And the shop is sitting on probably 3 or 4 acres. When that thing hovered over the shop, it was bigger than that whole area there where the shop is. I'd say 2 football fields. That thing, I've never seen anything that big in the air.
And of course, they're going to have these in different sizes as well. I remember one night I was at the beach looking for angels, and I seen a constant light sitting way out over the ocean. And I've changed my rules now where I don't do this anymore, but I had a laser. And I took my laser, and it's a very powerful laser. I think I actually have it right here. Yeah, it's right here. Has a 5-mile range on it, but the batteries are fully charged. And let's see, this thing working. I better not point it at the camera. But yeah, you can see it's got a 5-mile range on it. And I pointed it at this light I was seeing out there. I was exploring. This has been quite a few years ago. I was exploring and trying to interact with the angels that I've seen. This one, I pointed it at it, and it started coming towards me after a few minutes. Started coming at me, coming. I'm like, ooh, okay. And as it was going pretty slow and come right across me. It was the shape of a triangle, but it was small. It was no bigger than what you would expect like a fighter jet size would be. And it flew right over me, dead solid. And I figured, I've done shined a laser into the window of something I shouldn't have. And so I immediately departed the location. As I was leaving and going out, just happened to pass 2 blacked out SUVs and a marked car coming in at high speed, going to where I was just left from. Yeah, freaked me out. I'll never do that again. But so the point to that is simply, I think they've got all of these different crafts and different sizes. They've got to put on one heck of a show coming soon. And so you can only imagine, just go wild with your imagination. But I think one of them will also be a round ball that will project light from all the way around, kind of like a disco ball maybe, but not with the pointy light shining everywhere. Who knows what they're going to do? But I think they will definitely, if they're not already doing it right now, they will definitely try to imitate angels and maybe then show those angels doing something bad and then say, that's aliens and we've got to have war against them and get all the people behind them because of this bad thing this ball of light did, and put on a show. Aliens invade, and it's actually angels coming to intervene in Father's name, maybe. I don't know. I really am just theorizing. Okay, so don't get too upset.
I'd like to note one thing. When we really get invaded by what's coming out of the pit, right? That's going to be coming out of the pit. That's coming up. It's not stuff that's coming from the sky necessarily. So when the real deal happens, it's not going to be just this illusion stuff coming from the sky. We're going to see this coming up out of the earth, the waters, the earth. It's not, I mean, there are the ones that fall, you know, but the real deal, like pit opening, bad stuff happening where men's hearts will fail them for what they see. That's from the ground. That's coming up from the pit. So I, you know,
The inside, more like kind of like inside or up from. When I think of the pit, I think of like a pit of an apple, because I believe that we live in the image of an apple. Basically, our world, we live in the eye of the apple, where Genesis takes place, in the center of all things that produce life and fruit, which is in the case of an apple and most fruits, it's right in the center. And you have that pit that's there, or you'd say the pit of the peach, you know. And so it's interesting they chose that word. But yeah, it's going to be a different, like you're saying, it's going to be a different thing.
I mean, there are those that it mentions, you know, the wandering stars for whom it is reserved, the blackness, the darkness. That is probably outside the firmament or within it. I'm not sure, you know, where there are those, you know, particular fallen angels that are still trapped in that dimensional space. But to me, that's what really the planets really are, like that we think of in outer space and all of that, are those particular fallen angels that are still in that realm. But when like when the earth is invaded by the gnarly crazy stuff and the pit opens up, that is not coming from the skies, guys. That is not. It's coming from within.
You know how it says about it, how there'll be smoke. And the other night I was outside, and it was just after it got dark, and out of nowhere, this fog. And I've seen it before, and I smelled it a little bit before. But this fog rolled in, and it was thick. And it smelled like something burning. It smelled like, it was a really strange smell, but definitely a sulfurous type thing. And I mean, am I supposed to ignore that we're seeing something that supposedly is fog, but it's smelling like something coming out of a pit, literally? I don't know. I mean, is it something they're doing? Because they like to fulfill prophecy, obviously.
Well, you know, William Cooper, the great late William Cooper, in his book mentions that they are using the book of Revelations and pushing it to make this stuff happen, basically.
They're playing God.
Exactly. I mean, there are many people throughout history who have that, like, religious aspect. Like
that reminds me of something from the. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. You've been quiet. I'm talking. Go ahead. Facts. No. Okay. Well, anyways, I kind of lost track where I was going with all of that, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. It's like something reminds me when I was it's out the Bible. Yeah, it's out. Thank you. It's out the Bible when we were. Yeah. No, there's pits of hell, or the things that are underground. It always reminds me of David and Goliath. That David just had the belief that the Almighty Creator would protect him, and he chose his weapon, which was just a simple sling, and the giant, which they say, you know, may have come from underground or wherever, and he defeated it. I just don't. I mean, I get it. They want us to be scared of this stuff, but we've got nothing to be scared of. Like, it's I just think we're so divine the way we've been created and the way Scripture's written. It's like letter to letter, word for word. It's all coming together. Does seem like the end times. These things are nothing's off the table now for me. Like nothing's off the table. It's just I truly believe in humanity, and if we go with our hearts and go with the Almighty Creator, we'll do. We'll succeed. There's no winning or losing. We'll just succeed. We're here for a purpose, and who knows what that is.
Well, just as there are those of us out here who are coming out into the world and saying, hey, there are all of these factions that can create these illusions. Remember to have faith what is real, because in this day and age, the deep fakes, everything, it's always questionable with what you are seeing with your own eyes. Is this actually real? And having faith that, yes, we know that this technology is there. We know that the enemy is using that to manipulate us and to get us afraid and to go along in with the plan. But with that belief in God and knowing that, what, I know I have faith God has me. That, which is, what you're saying. It's helpful for people like us to come out there and say, hey, don't believe everything that you see. Don't believe everything that they're telling you. Because in this day and age of misinformation, disinformation, whatever, it's very possible that they've been doing a lot of this stuff over the years already in the skies. But if this is how God is working through us all, like his children, is helping us to get this information that this stuff isn't all real. Don't always believe your eyes, and have faith and know that we are not meant to have the spirit of fear. Which, right, is kind of what you're saying. Man,
that's perfect. It's, the thing is, we're the minority, though, that unfortunately the majority of people are going to believe, the other side of things, and they're going to go along with it, I'd imagine. And yeah, it's but you can't force anyone to believe anything, or it's so in their own time, hopefully they'll be on the same page and we'll sing together.
We're sowing seeds with love and the Holy Spirit, and hopefully they will grow.
That's right.
This looked familiar when we were looking at the Golden Dome stuff, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Our Golden Dome stuff. We would just, let me pull one of the images over here, like this, right? And of course, they were showing us the hexagonal shapes. Where's those images at? Yeah, in here, of course, in the video that we were watching. And then you got Starlink, we've been talking about. And of course, one of the mapping systems that they use shows us the same hexagonal pattern, and it covering across the United States and other places. And one question I have is, are they building, using Starlink satellite system and other tools, are they building a movie screen? They recently started saying that they're launching these Starlink satellites that now have been upgraded and have, it says each Starlink satellite contains 3 lasers. Let me just open this article and see what it shows here real quick.
You could find that scene of the 3-body problem with like all the shenanigans in the sky. Just,
The 3-body problem. We'll take a look. I'll pull that up. I mean, I don't think it would be far-fetched to think that they, in order to deceive the entire nation or even the entire world, they're going to need absolute control of what's being shown, like what you're saying. Let me see if I can find it. Let me come here, open up a new window here. And what was it called again, Shannon?
The 3-body problem.
The 3-body problem. The 3-body problem. And what was the scene? Give me
There's a scene where the stars are literally moving and falling and doing all this weird stuff. It's kind of hard to remember exactly what it was.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. You see anything that? So this was a series, or was it a movie?
Yeah, it's like a mini series.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't really play it so much, but we can skip around, because if I play it, I'm going to get copyrighted immediately.
I started watching that, Shannon, and I watched like the first episode, and I just couldn't stay in it long enough to make sense of it.
It's watching the whole thing. You get a little bit of a better idea. But it's interesting how they started off with CERN, of course.
They're showing the lights, the sky, like everything you're seeing in the sky, they're showing it blinking.
Yeah, it all blinks, and then other weird stuff happens too.
Yeah, it's like a countdown.
But like everyone's seeing this going like, what in the heck?
So they have a dome that's been built around them, right?
They had these aliens, quote unquote, have sent this technology ahead of time to create a dome type thing around the Earth to show them what they want to show.
A bubble, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, dome.
There's
Like
also a new show.
the Golden Dome. Like the Golden Dome that we've been talking about, basically. And then, of course, here's our Golden Dome. And here's our Golden Supercycle. And they're showing it like it's going to be insane. Wizard of Oz. You got all of the things here, some of which we've been already seeing. I mean, it's like they're getting ready to take us to Wizard of Oz land in some kind of a way.
Well, there's a new show on Hulu called Paradise, and it's where a nuclear event has occurred, and they dug a hole in a mountain in Colorado and took 25,000 people. They knew long enough ahead of time to create an artificial environment, which actually has a sky above it, with sun and stars and moon, and the computer makes it all happen. So it assimilates living on top of the ground, under the ground. And there's something that happens and somebody gets control of what's being programmed on the dome, and they have to reset it. And one of the things they say in that show is, these people have been underground for a while, that if they reset it and that it may cause them to lose grip on reality, which would cause chaos in society. And basically that if you disrupt the people making your food, we're going to go hungry. So we got to keep them, toeing the line.
Interesting, because the show Fallout, which was based off of a video game, had a very similar thing where they had these underground assimilated places because of nuclear warfare and yada yada yada. But it turns out that you find out later that the powers that be created that nuclear warfare themselves to harness, whatever it is they wanted to do and control the masses.
Population control.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have the sign. Was it Revelations 13? I think.
Yeah.
Woman clothed in the sun. This is the constellation of Virgo and constellation of Leo right here, the 12 stars upon her head. And it shows this, it depicts this is depicting the Revelations 13 story. And there's a few events that take place in this story that are interesting. Of course, we have the woman clothed in the sun with the moon under her feet. 12 stars. Here's 12, we'll call them the stars here, okay? And she, of course, drops the seed, Genesis. And then later it shows, I'm going to show it somewhere here. Part of the story is when the dragon spews. This is it right here, as a matter of fact, when it comes to depicting it in I Pet Goat. And let me see if I can slow this down to 25%. You can see the dragon has drawn back like this, and then he comes forward and spews. And let's see what happens. He'll draw back here in a second. There he goes. And then something comes out of the heavens through dimensions or portal type of things.
It looks like a portal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what does it spew? It spews fire into the water, which is a little different than the Revelations 13 story, but it may be different only due to error in translation. So here's the fire coming down, and the Revelation 13 says that the earth helped the woman and opened its mouth. And this is the imagery of, which you'll see here in a second, the imagery of someone's mouth open, like it's the earth's mouth. This is all symbolic, of course. So here you have the uvula, is that what it's called? That's in the throat.
Uvula.
And of course, at the same time, this is an image of an apple. As you can see, it's got the same exact shape of an apple with right in the eye of the apple is this character with this golden halo. That's the first time I ever noticed that it was golden right here, as a matter of fact. But yeah, golden halo.
Which halo, a lot of that depiction of a halo and things you see in art, that's actually more for Saturn worship with the rings of Saturn. That's more what that halo.
Well, and that would explain, because I see this as like the coming again of the Antichrist spirit, coming down. But I'm trying to figure out if any of what we're looking at here and what's in Revelations is tied to this golden dome thing. And it's about to hurt my head on top of trying to hurt y'all guys' head. So you see all the electricity starts flying. So you got some kind of an electrical component going on here. And this story, I'm sure it is tied to what we're talking about.
The crazy thing is, when you were just talking, Voynich manuscript that I've been looking at and following along, part of the stuff you're talking about now is talked about in the Voynich manual, which was written in the late 1400s.
Really?
Really, the fire in the water. And that all art is connected. All good artwork that you saw from back then, and all of these tapestries and castles, they're all connected. They're all depictions of different things, and that they're not just some artist renditioning of whatever the thought was in his mind at the time. It tells a bigger concept of a story.
And I know I'm not talking because I'm thinking.
What was the tail looking thing behind his leg there?
Here?
Now back it up like 2 seconds. Right there. Alright, play it and look behind his left leg. I think when you start seeing his leg, it almost looks like a cat's tail
Oh, it does.
on both legs. Maybe
Uh,
some type of, like,
something.
outfit
Like a
decoration, but it looks like
raccoon.
a cat tail or a raccoon tail.
One thing for sure, they wanted it there.
Yep, everything means something.
Hmm.
See, it's on both boots, and maybe
Mhm.
it's just decoration, but I find that hard to believe.
There ain't no such thing as decoration in this video. On 9/11, when that happened, that morning,
Look at the fire back there. That's a stag.
Oh, it is.
That's a stag in that fire back there.
morning of 11 on the Today Show, right before the event rolled out, there was, I forget her name, Ann Carey, something like that. She's an Asian-looking female, and she did this on that morning. Looked at the camera and did this right here in a second. Okay, she looked at the camera and went wide-eyed, and stuck her tongue out at the camera the morning of the event. And of course, this video depicts that event on that day in September as well. I could go into trying to explain what all this is. Basically, this is depicting, I think it's depicting the heavens, and it's symbolic for like the heavens and these demonic angelic forces doing things. So again, we're looking at this for the reason of Revelations 13, the dragon spews. We know this is what this story is about. I will be decoding this entire video here soon. I've already decoded I've decoded all of it, but I haven't put it into a full video because it'll make a lot better sense then. Let me see if I can, let me speed this up a little bit. There's a reason why I'm doing this. So you can see the temple is crumbling around him, and the temple is you. And they're showing this temple, that this fire comes into the body of the world, us basically, or the human race. And it shows this character, and you can see the light starting to show in from the roof, shining in, because the temple is under attack. It's falling apart. And then it goes in, it starts showing things to do with the sexual nature of human beings. Here you have imagery of a man laying on his back. Half of his body is facing down, laying face down, and the other half is faced up. And of course, you can obviously see it has this phallic symbolism. It shows this light, which you could call fire again, like the spewing of the fire, coming down from the heavens. And then it shows this battle of nature taking place. And they depict sexual desire as a witch trapped inside of a man's loins, and that she's looking for her next conquer. And then she sees that this new light or this new fire. And sorry for the imagery. I didn't create it, but it's just a cartoon. And I always noticed on her foot, her shoe, let me back it up just a second. See if I can pause it at the right moment. Her shoe will have See that they intentionally show her shoes. You can see it says XXX and then XXX. What I believe that's tied to is triple strand DNA. Obviously, it could be depicted, but when you take it in the scene that it's in, this is about a change in the way that humans are created or made, like trying to go back to the garden and put man and woman back together again, kind of thing. And of course, it shows the menstrual cycle and it failing, and there's no more life in the garden, you might say. And this is publicly on YouTube, so it's not like I'm showing something that anybody can't pull up. And then here we have the birth scene, basically. But before it shows this, it's going to show one more thing. It shows the birth scene where you have, it's kind of like a Catholic basilica, and you have the front door, which is basically for a Catholic basilica. It is what it is. It's the symbolism of a woman laying on her back, and everybody's walking in through the vaginal opening. He's coming out. He's being birthed out from there. You can see the why does it slip in my mind what these windows are called? The colored glass windows.
Stained glass windows.
Yeah, the stained glass windows, like it shows like a flower or flower of life. And I've stated before that this is talking about the flower of life is based on the toroidal energy flow, okay, that creates storms like a supercell thunderstorm, creates hurricanes, and also creates things in life in this world like flowers that bloom. And it's all over our bodies, which I've explained before. And in this case, it's depicted as, and on Catholic basilicas, it's the storm, the clitoris, the storm, the Taurus, that I remember the first time I ever said this around Shannon. She was like, well, that's one way to put it. What it's depicting is kind of like the storm that exists between man and woman when there's a creation event going on. It's an energetic thing, high energetics.
It also looks like a double helix.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
But after this, it shows this scene, of course. These, again, you can tell that when you're watching this video, it's highly sexualized, but yet only through symbolics for the most part. And what this is, these are what you would call sea man or seamen, okay? And it depicts them being destroyed. So, question would be is how does this possibly tie into what they're, maybe it has to. How does it possibly tie in to what we're looking at with like this golden dome thing that they're doing and the warp speed thing and getting all the needles in the arms.
The Stargate program.
And the Stargate, program. And I mean, how does this all weave together? I mean, I know for a fact because I'm a victim of it, and that is being sterilized. Okay, when I went into the military and served my time, thinking I was doing an honorable thing, they sterilized me, which most people that go through the military are the same way. You get sterilized. That's your bonus for signing up to think you're doing something good. And so we know also that they're doing this intentionally, and they are sterilizing. They're not just sterilizing the men, they're sterilizing the females as well. And they do it through convenience a lot of times with the females. They'll say like, oh, well, here's this cotton pad for you to put on. They just don't tell you there's a chemical in the pad that cause you to go sterile.
That's why you got to go all natural.
You gotta go natural.
Ladies,
You know,
really pay attention to what's you see on those lists of ingredients.
and I would say, just like Roxy said, don't believe us. Go look it up and research the chemicals that are in those things. You'll find out that they're talking you into putting things on your body that sterilizes your body.
Well,
Or
and a lot of
when you're a
things that are
13-year-old child, you know, she's starting to become a woman, and you tell her use these things. What you're doing is you're sterilizing your child. So don't believe me. Don't blame the messenger. Go do your research. What
well, and a
Roxy?
lot of these chemicals that you need to go research, the only reason they're using them is because they found a way in food or medicine to use them because they're byproducts of some other source that they've got, and it's cheaper for them to put it in Pop Tarts than it is for the disposal fee of it. I mean, one of the contents in energy drinks is some of the sludge that comes off of waste treatment, sewer treatment.
Yeah.
One of the chemicals that come off of there, it was cheaper because they could find the use for it in energy drinks versus disposing of it properly.
Which,
And
by the way, for anybody who does drink these terrible energy drinks, there are 3 that do not have that ingredient in it. So just wanted to throw that out. But yes.
Somebody's wondering which 3 you're talking about.
Red Bull, Bang, and Ghost something. Those are the only 3 I've found that don't have that ingredient.
have you looked into Kinetics, their energy drink, Shannon?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Look into Kinetics. I'm pretty sure theirs is an all natural.
Maybe
Maybe. Oh, look.
you guys, you have to do, like Roxy said, you got to do the research yourself. You need to prove it to yourself. Don't listen to someone who's on YouTube. Don't listen to anybody without doing your own research and figuring it out, and expect that you're going to be deceived and try to see through it. So obviously that's not our intention. I'm just telling you, be careful who you're trusting and listening to. It can lead you down a bad path. I pray that I never do that.
Everybody said Noah was a conspiracy theorist until it started to rain. So we're just here to try to help you find an umbrella until you can build your boat.
Yeah. Matter of fact, time for a commercial break. Let's see. And that reminds me, I wanted to bring up something. That is this. We're going to get more into this because I'm going to dive down this rabbit hole some more. But biblically, the Bible talks about things that should not be combined. Like one thing it says is you should not combine wool and linen. And it sounds like a silly thing. Well, is this some kind of religious practice, But no, it's actually much deeper than that. And let me show you this here for an example. Talking about, see, everything has its own resonant frequency. And everything that you put on your body, whether it be chemicals or clothing, even clothing. What would you guess the clothing that you're getting from these Greek gods like Nike and all the other ones that they name all their brands for, their logos? Okay. What would you think the chances are that those materials are made to hold your vibrational frequency down, to work against you? Like, for instance, it says here linen is said to have a vibrational frequency of 5,000 hertz, which is significantly higher than the human body's frequency of around 100 hertz. And it is believed to have healing properties. And it's interesting that biblically, a lot of linen was worn, and it was used, it was hung in the temples, it was hung, there's linen, and the tabernacle was made out of linen, from a fabric standpoint.
Well,
And
if you go back to the hospitals of the 1800s, early 1900s, all of the linens on the bed and in those hospitals were made of linen because they knew it was antibacterial and had better healing properties than cotton. It got switched to cotton when it just so happens that somebody in power had a buddy that run the cotton mill. Imagine that.
I haven't jumped all the way down this rabbit hole yet, but I'm sure I probably will, but I just wanted to bring it up real quick. Give you guys something else to think about on top of everything else, and that is realize what you're putting on your body. Realize it. Don't just trust it. And when you're wearing these brands with these logos on them, and I say logos, if you know, you know. You're like literally walking around branded for these fallen ancient Greek gods, this kind of stuff. And I really don't like it. That's why I got this a t-shirt on. That's all I ever wear almost.
Yeah, and the way you just said it, logos, like logo, you're going low. It's taking your vibration down lower. Logos.
That's one way to look at it.
Every human being, every animal, every plant, everything has a vibrational frequency.
Even rocks. Everything.
Even rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And
free rocks.
If you can't understand what's going on in the current day, go backwards and look at history. And that'll take you all the way back to the beginning of what they were wearing, how they were behaving, and what has been hidden from us, what we have been deceived about, what we were taught in school that is absolutely incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And if any part of it is correct, it's only like 1/10 of the story. But when we're talking about all these all-natural things with frequency and chemicals in your food, you not only need to be reading the labels on the food you're eating, you need to be reading the label on the shampoo you put on your head, soap you wash your body with, because your body is nothing but one big antenna with all these pores in it to absorb this stuff. If you go to a store to buy something to wash your body with, and it does not have the word soap on it, don't use it. Not soap. Even candles.
Body wash.
And these essential oils. When you're burning these candles in your home, all of that stuff is in the air and it goes up in your nasal passages.
Well,
and attaches.
And also, your skin is the largest organ in your body, and it soaks up all this stuff more than when you ingest it.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of foods out there. Like you see a breakfast commercial, you'll see somebody with a bowl of oatmeal or whatever, and they got bananas and blueberries. You're not supposed to mix things. You're not supposed to mix fabric. If you mix a banana and a blueberry in the same smoothie, those two things will offset the nutritional value of the other, and you have essentially eaten zero nutrients.
Right.
Yeah, the Bible talks about not mixing a lot of things, and it never really clicked. And but it makes a lot more sense when you think about things like just simply the fabrics, like your fake fabrics that are created from mixes of all kinds of stuff, and you're going to put those things on your body like polyester and nylon and acrylic and spandex and rayon and all that, versus your natural things like leather, silk, or wool, or linen, cotton, hemp, those kind of things.
Yeah, Tresemme is a terrible product. Sorry, I'm reading the comment. I do have a question for facts, because you're out in the UK, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So, like out here in America, you look at the labels of food items and there's like 20 to 30 ingredients in there. But from what I understand, out in the UK and like Canada and certain other areas, they don't have those same ingredients. And it's more of a simplistic, natural thing. Is that correct? Do you find that most of the food
That's
products and things that you buy out there are free of like 50 more
yes.
chemicals that we have?
For example, I was speaking to someone about cereal, which no, you shouldn't eat any cereal in any way, shape, or form. But the one called Cheerios, or I think you call it Fruitos, and they're round and they're all different colours like red, green, yellow. They're not allowed to be sold the same the ingredients that you have in the America. You're not allowed to sell that in Europe. You can't export it to Europe because we've got British, a thing called British standards, and ISS is another standards, and it doesn't meet those requirements, and they won't. So the Cheerios that are sold in America have got so much chemicals in them, they won't. You're not allowed to export it to Europe. I've forgotten the exact chemical, but there's one really, really nasty one in there that yeah, 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 but yeah, it's they have like very few ingredients on the tin. Like they do trick you a bit though over here. They'll like sort of call it like steak, and then add like a couple of letters on the end of it, or and then they'll put E numbers, and so it's not great. I mean, it's a little bit better, but it's still get it's still trash food. Really, it's not. It's not good, but it's not. It's yeah. That's what the guy was saying about the cereal, the Cheerios or Fruit Loops, that you're not allowed to export them to Europe because of the ingredients in you, but they will sell them in America to their own people where they're made. So yeah.
Yes,
And
sad.
it makes you wonder, though, why they inundate our country and places also like China and other big countries with mass amounts of people, like billions of people in one country. Billions, I could be wrong, could be millions, but why we're getting inundated with 10 times more of the chemicals than other places in the world. You
That
know,
goes back to GMO seed, Shannon.
I heard it was a testing ground. I heard West California is for the United Kingdom and East Coast. So you got West Coast and East Coast, and the East Coast is for the rest of Europe. And they test it in America first, and they see how it goes down. And then because anything happens in America happens over in UK and then Europe about 10 years later. But it's got quicker. It's about 2 or 3 years that, so it'll come out first in America, and then 2 years it'll be out in the UK. So we're always behind America.
so we're the lab rats.
Crash test dummy.
That's great.
Well, they lied to us since we were born, and they told us that we were an exceptional people. We were different. We were the greatest people. We had the best country in the world. While the whole time it was exactly the opposite for the most part. We assume because that we've got fancy cars or fancy houses or some things that we consider to be prestigious or whatever, that somehow that's better than living off the land and living in a small village. But I think we've been sold a bill of bad goods.
Yeah, a lie.
Well, does
Yeah, 'cause
anybody know where back in society paying your tithe, where that came from?
Paying your tithe.
Paying your tithes, like paying your tithe at church, your 10%.
paying your dues or paying your dues, paying your levy, like paying your way.
Right. That's not how it all began. Back in way back, you had a community, a small community. We weren't all this close knit. Well, you had a group of, people. One person grew tomatoes, one person grew cucumbers, one person grew, strawberries. as you brought in your harvest so that your neighbors had enough, you all kind of met in the middle and brought the excess that your family couldn't eat, and you swapped it as your 10%, your tie to your community. Well, after a while, back in the day, the sheriffs of Nottingham would come riding in on their horse, and the people in power, well, they wanted their piece of it. You had to feed the king too. So that's where taxes come in.
That's right, because they switched it around like Robin Hood was doing the good thing, but it's exactly how you explained it. It wasn't like that. They come to get their piece.
They come to get
But I remember,
what they didn't work
yeah,
for.
I remember when I was a child, yeah, and it must have been like at the switchover, because I'm 50 now, and we used to sing hymns at like when I was 6 years old, and they used to have Harvest Festival, and everyone would bring in like some food, and it would be for Harvest Festival to remember, like the biblically, like to save up for the, for the what the season's changing, and I don't know all the reasons for Harvest Festival, but then they started pushing the vowels on you, A, E, I, O, U, 10p. That's how we was taught to remember it. So they like, I believe that there was a pure system, but they're pushing their poison in it all the time until it's literally down to TikTok shaking and doing dances, and where we're at now, like what Daniel's saying, we swapped like nature for making what we thought was good automobiles and industrials. Yeah.
Well, if you think of like the Disney way of things, Disney, in a sense, has brilliantly made an enslavement scenario and a way of enslaving you without you understanding or knowing that you're a slave. You
That's
think
right.
you are enjoying your time. You think you are in luxury or in some kind of happy place. But truly, it's just enslaving you.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's
the
like,
Roman Colosseums. When the people start to revolt, they brought them to the Colosseums
Yeah.
to watch the gladiators fight,
Yeah.
gave them bread and fruit to
This
pacify them.
happens when you don't work with us.
You get
think
put
how
right along.
think how many marriages Disney are responsible for destroying. Like the princess is expecting the knight in shining armor to come in, and as a little girl, like you have, do you know what I mean? All that programming, it's still there subconsciously. Then you get married or in a relationship, and it's nothing like what you've seen on,
Mhm.
Yeah, could go on, but like, yes, sad.
Exactly. And it's destroyed how a female anyway should be in taking care of her home. Like, we're not all princesses. We don't all just get to have the lack of luxury and maids and servants and all these things. We're meant to take care of the home. We're meant to take care of our husband and our children, and that just throws all of that out the window. So our purpose in life, our God-given purpose, is just totally demolished in the mind of a little girl, thinking I'm a princess and I'm meant to have this or that, or my knight in shining armor, my prince.
And then how can the knight in shining armor work for another man, get a salary, and can't even afford to buy a wedding ring, and he's got to get it on hired purchase? It's just laughable, really. But we were too young. We didn't know any better. We trusted people that have misled us. And, I think people are, every person is feeling something's just not right. Even the person that still believes in the system still backs them up. There's that little niggling thing that's saying, hang on a sec, something that's not right, where years ago, everything was perfect for them. But I truly believe that everyone is starting to think, hang on a sec, after the 3 years everyone had off, or apart from the emergency workers, everyone had time to sort of reflect and think, what it's not right here.
Yep. whole lot of things not right.
Yes.
Guys,
A long and undistinguished list. Could be a long list.
yeah, and we're going to continue to talk about these things and continue to expose these things and continue to speak the truth as long as we can have the breath and the ability to be able to do it. We've got we're actually about to the end of the show here, but Shannon had recently produced a song, and she does that from time to time as she works for a few people, and she likes to sing and she's really good at it. But we've got a song here that I wanted to play of hers. Can you tell us anything about the song and why it's called In This House and so on?
Yes. This is one of the few songs that I absolutely love, and I can actually listen to myself sing. But, you know, everyone in the world had gone through the whole lockdown experience, and this not only literally but metaphorically is about being trapped inside in your house, but making the best of it, and at least being there with who it is that you love and things along those lines. But it's one of those songs that I'm pretty sure everybody in the whole world can understand. It's so yeah.
Okay, drum roll. 3, 2, 1. No pressure.
But if you guys really do want to help support me in any way, the best thing is just to go listen to some of my music. I'll be having a full-on album out sometime in this year. I keep I'm given dates, but they never pan out. It's God's will when all this stuff is going to come out. But the few songs that I do out there, if you purchase them on iTunes or even just, like on Spotify or any of those, that would make a huge difference.
If you have a link, you could drop it in the comments too, Shannon.
Yeah, I will.
See if you can do that, and I'll play it, and you can see if you can find the link to it. You can drop it in the comments, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, let's take a listen to Soul 7, aka Shannon, singing In This House.
1, 2, 3, 4.
As this world shuts down, I feel somewhere let down.
That was brilliant.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's go. Actually,
And it is available on all music streaming platforms, including YouTube. So that would be a great way to support me, guys, if you'd go check out the few songs I got out there.
let's see here. I wanted to drop at least one link here. So I'll do the Spotify one in case. But you can look it up. It's called In This House, and it's Soul 7, just like it is on her. But it did say when the comment goes away, take that away for a second. There we go. See, Soul 7, and In This House, and you go check it out if you want to, and maybe download a copy. If you like to have some music on the side and you know that it was built and created by someone who is actually trying to do a good thing in the world and not just trying to get rich and sell out to the beast system, because she's been offered that and she turned it down. So there is that. With all that said, guys, we are going to go ahead and get on out of here. I thank everyone that is in the audience listening. You've had a good crowd today. We're now over 2 hours. And I thank Fax for coming back again.
Daniel.
I really hope to see you a lot more.
Yes.
And, we enjoy having you here, Fax.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Roxy. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you for coming back.
And I love the music. I'm not just saying it. I'm a really tough critic. If I didn't like it, I'd say I'll be honest and be constructive criticism. But honestly, powerful voice. Really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, honesty is great. And if anyone does think it sucks, that's totally fine. They're allowed to think that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Definitely doesn't do that. That's
It does not suck. It's-
powerful vocals.
And as I was saying, thank you to Miss Kim again here. She don't get much accolades for the things that she does for the show here, but most of all the stuff you see popping up and doing all that down below on the screen, she's doing most of it, if not all of it, and different banners and things that runs, and so I greatly appreciate.
Almost a complete and total production department.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Producer.
Moderator.
Yeah.
Just started on those telepathy tapes, Roxy. So I'm on tape 3 at the moment. So yeah, take listening to them properly.
All right. Well, once we go off air, let's talk about it a second.
Yeah.
And of course, thank you to my co-host Shannon for being here again today. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of her as well. She's still trying to get things together where she's going to start doing a little bit of her own show as well. So still got that to look forward to here in the future. And same thing goes with Roxy. Roxy is also going to be hosting her own show at least one day a week coming here in the very near future as well. So we're doing everything that we can. And with that being said, I reckon it's time to get on out of here. I love you guys. Remember that our Father in heaven loves you and that he'd like to hear from you from time to time. If you had a father, which we all have, the earthly fathers, but this is the supernatural Father in which you can speak to at any time, in any place. But sometimes the best place is in private, where you can have that private conversation and not show off on the street corner as much. Not like there's anything wrong with preaching on the street corner when you're trying to reach people. But anyways, hopefully you get what I mean. I love you guys, and we'll see you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays is still what we're holding to for now. There are some changes coming with the Beyond the Veil part of the show, where we're going to be going beyond the veil in a way that allow y'all guys to still listen, but we can speak more openly about subject matter that you just can't talk about on YouTube. That's coming soon. So If you're not a member of one of the YouTube channels or a member of the website or a member of Patreon, I would suggest maybe doing that if you want to be able to be beyond the veil with us when we start doing that again here real soon. With that being said, I love you guys. Thanks again to our special guest for being here with us. And we'll talk to y'all guys again on Wednesday, if not sooner.
And go do your